Hello, welcome to Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso, who's driving by on the street. If you like this channel, please push like, share it with your family, friends, neighbors, enemies, etc. This is the second video I've done today in the same shirt that I've had on. Let me see. And I want to go ahead and do this and expand about Kenny Lassiter, the video I did yesterday. Actually, I was surprised at the views that it got. But there's more I want to talk about as far as Kenny. If you guys haven't seen the video, it was posted yesterday, Monday. It's about a former brother of mine, Kenny Lassiter, who was shot by police down in Melbourne, Florida, on January 27th of 2003. He was the shot caller for a short period of time for the Dirty White Boys at Leavenworth, USP from, let's just say, 99 to 2001 maybe. But let me go ahead and tell some more Kenny stories. Kenny and I really got to know each other when I went to the SHU. I think it was the second time. Special housing unit. The special housing unit is basically a county jail within the prison at Leavenworth. Two people are locked in a cell, 23 hours a day, 5 days a week, out for rec for an hour. But in the weekends, it's just total lockdown. You get to really know each other during those times. In the SHU at that time, what the cops were doing were they were letting us make wine. And the reason they did was because that's less people that go to rec. So if you're making wine in the SHU, what's going on is at least one person staying in to babysit the baby. We called the bag of wine of the baby. That way the cops wouldn't come in and shake down the cell. Very rare would they shake down the cell when somebody's in it, unless they were doing a tier shakedown or whatever. Anyway, so Kenny and I got to really know each other during that time. I can say that he was, like a lot of guys that come to prison, you are stuck on the past and your most recent experiences before you got locked up. So let's say the year before you got locked up or 2 years before you got locked up, those are frozen in your memory. And his was really about a girl, like a lot of guys, and her name was Tetta. I don't really know her real name, but he was ate up batshit crazy about this girl. She was pretty. I've seen pictures. He had plenty of pictures of her. And he talked about her and told stories that they did quite a bit. Also, when I got out of the SHU, Kenny was always on me, but to join the Dirty White Boys. I mean, he was on me really tough. We got out of the SHU. I started hanging out with him more. Now, I did say yesterday that heroin was a big part of his life. It was a big part of mine too. Chasing booze and heroin, drugs. Period. You know. We partied. That's how we did our time. Whether that's right or wrong, it's just a fact. But I remember going up to be upper where he lived. He had a cell called the Snake Pit. That we named the Snake Pit. And for sure, there's a lot of activity going on in there. First time I ever used a needle that was a basketball needle and had a big pin attached to it, melted on with the Visine as a plunger. So it was like this long. It's for intravenous drug use. It was called the Harpoon. I think Kenny made it using the harpoon in the Snake Pit. To the normal person, that would sound super disgusting. Like, how can you dudes do that? To people that had been in prison, we had a lot of good times doing stupid shit like that, getting drunk in the cells. I will say this about Kenny. People talk about the Mexican Mafia, the MA. Lot of Serrano. Shit, there was 40 Serranos there. 2 Black Hands, which is the Mexican Mafia. There was one at this time. There was a guy, his name was Phil, and he came from Terre Haute. This dude was he was a gold card or whatever you want to say. He was the golden egg, I guess. He had a lot of money, spent a lot of money, and he was what we called a lame. There was rumors that he was a snitch in prison and this and that. But whatever the case, Kenny knew him from Terre Haute and pulled him in right here. At the same time, members of the Mexican Mafia, Negro, Serenos, Beto, Spanky, who were in B lower, they knew that Phil was a gold mine as well. Man, I'm missing the term. I'm not Mark, but there's like a term and I can't believe. Anyway, so what ends up happening is Phil, knowing that he has a lot of money and that people that he wasn't he was a willing victim, is what he was playing both ends. Like, so he was bitching to the Mexican Mafia about the white dudes pressing, which was the Dirty White Boys, which was Kenny actually, and vice versa to Kenny about the Mexican Mafia. He's playing. I at the time was actually running pretty tough with Negro, who had the compound for the Mexican Mafia. We lived together actually for a second, but I was really close with those guys. When I wasn't upstairs getting fucked up with Kenny, I was downstairs getting fucked up with them. Let's put it that way, and that's the truth. Sadly, I'm not proud of that. I'm just stating facts. Kenny came down with two dudes and rolled up in Negro's cell, ready to go, and he was no punk. I had never seen him fight, but I told he couldn't fight good, but he would. But rolled up on those dudes, and that was an actual day that after he left, the Mexican dudes came up to me and says, like, whose side are you on anyway? I'm white and I'm from California. We have an alliance with those guys, but I was also running with the Dirty White Boys, and here they just basically pulled Negro's covers. And I know there's going to be people that'll bitch about this that are Mexican Mafia fanboys or whatever. And I'm not disrespecting the Mexican Mafia or the Emmy. I'm not. It's just a fact. Kenny did have that dude Phil hit the very next day by a guy named Cub. And it was a brutal, brutal hit. As a matter of fact, I've come to find out that Phil had AIDS and Cub was salty because he had so much blood on him from beating him over the head with the sock. That's not the. So anyway, Kenny was constantly on joke time, laughing. He cackled a lot when he talked. So he was missing some teeth. I noticed in the mugshot or whatever. It looks like I seen a couple photos, but he was missing some teeth. But he cackled a lot, and it was constant. It was always on joke time, always having a good time. Very rare did I see him down and out. He had a big poker table that they ran upstairs. Well, he was over it. He didn't really play much. He did play. He actually liked to play. But as a gang leader for the Dirty White Boys at the time, he did a pretty decent job. I would argue that after he was sent to Marion, it all went to shit on the compound for the Dirty White Boys. He really was able to bring guys together. One of the things that he wanted to do was really put a foot down more and be more aggressive on the yard. I don't know how that would have worked out. I do know after he was getting transferred, he was pretty salty about getting transferred, and wanted to hit a bunch of staff members. That was actually really close. One of the things Kenny did, though, the Dirty White Boys that went to the shoe, he was really good about making sure all the brothers got stuff in the shoe. Not all the gang leaders or not all the Dirty White Boys were good about that. Kenny was really good about that. And what I mean is, there were certain staff members that would bring in tobacco, you name it. We would get green duffel bags full of stuff that we're not supposed to get in the shoe. Christmas, man, I remember Christmas time, they'd send packages in, but Kenny was really, really good about that. if you were a brother, a dirty white boy, or just a friend or associate, he was really good. And he never, he rarely would let anybody, any of the dirty white boys go without, as long as he was in there. He was good about that. What else about Kenny? I'm trying to remember. He like I said yesterday, he had his childhood. I was trying to remember back, and I remember phone conversation with his mom. The funniest phone conversation I ever heard, but it wasn't funny because he cried after. Was that he was talking to his mom, and he said, "Mom, when I was little, you told me to go play with alligators, and you meant it." I laughed. This was a Christmas phone call. But come to find out afterwards, like he was really missing something there. I don't know if it was dad or mom. And please, the Lassiter family, I don't mean no disrespect to you guys. I'm just talking about my personal observations with him. It really affected me to see that this guy got killed just the other day. I just found this out, and I just seen so many people that I've done time with. I can show you guys a photo. Everybody's dead. These are guys that were like high positions in prison, or not even that, just guys that I knew well, and they're all dead. And to see Kenny to go out, he actually pulled the gun and shot at the cops from the reports. It's just freaking mind-boggling. And I know I'm not doing him justice in this. I know I'm not. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about deleting it a second ago, but I'm not. He was really a good guy, man. For everything I said, in all the in the world of prison, everything's upside down. What might be good to some people, what's good out here is bad in there. What's bad out there is good. It's vice versa, It's an upside down world. I remember, so I guess the last time I would see Kenny before he went to Marion, he was anxious about going to Marion for sure. He didn't know what awaited him. We had issues with the Aryan Brotherhood. The dirty white boys told the Aryan Brotherhood to go fuck off at Leavenworth. I know people don't like to hear that because they think the ABs are much more. But there was poker tables that the Aryan Brotherhood were getting money from. So imagine this: in units and in the rec unit, there's guys that are dealing cards or running poker tables, and proceeds of that were going to members of the Aryan Brotherhood, and there weren't even any Aryan Brotherhood members on the compound. Okay, this guy named Red, but I would argue that he was a fake AB, but I'm not even going to go there right now because I know there's people that listen to this that liked Red, and I don't try not to disrespect Red either. It's my perspective. Everybody has a different perspective. Anyway, my point is Kenny, Robert Wolf first, but Kenny was instrumental on getting the poker tables to be dirty white boy poker tables rather than AB. Not in every unit, not like the ABs had it, but the dirty white boys, we had poker tables in units that were taken away from the Aryan Brotherhood because they didn't have a presence there. They thought Kenny was part of that fuck the brand movement for the dirty white boys. The Nazi lowriders had a fuck the brand movement. That's fuck the Aryan Brotherhood. Kenny was part of that movement. He was anti-ABs. Any brothers that went to ADX or went to Marion and that became Aryan Brotherhoods, he was one of those guys that wanted those brothers hit for crossing patches. Myself, I could kind of tell you I'd agree with that, but anyway, because I was never trying to be an AB. But he was instrumental on that. He was instrumental on that sea change from the ABs to the dirty white boys at Leavenworth. There'll be guys that did time with me at Leavenworth that won't even know that, but he really was. When the Aryan Brotherhood was back from McElhaney's trial, Big Mac's trial, they were in the shoe trying to run things on the compound. He was part of the group that said no. When the ABs wanted dirty white boys and white guys from California to go hit DC dudes just because of an ongoing beef with the brand, Robert Wolf stepped up, told them no. Kenny was back in that play. So he was nervous about going to Marion for that reason. But from what I understand, him and Tank got together. They hit one of the ABs. I think it was a former dirty white boy. I'm not sure, and I don't know the name. And if you do, if you guys have any information, you can post it in the comment section. I'd appreciate it. But like I said yesterday, and this is just a few more things, and really I kind of got lost in the sauce on this video. I wanted to talk about good memories, and then I was realizing I was talking the good memories might sound so crazy to other people that I better just shut the fuck up. Right? That's right. That's the truth. So anyway, I just can't believe that it happened like it did with this guy, and he was doing so good. And this, again, I want this to be a lesson about drugs as well, because this was methamphetamine, fentanyl. This was meth that did this. Somebody that pulls a gun to a cop like Kenny, with his background and knowing his character, that was methamphetamine that did that. Meth took his life. And I believe that. Take care.